So this video begins chapter 3 on sentence patterns and verb classes. So where have we been and where we're going? So in chapter 1, we started with individual word classes, the smallest unit of meaning. We looked at individual nouns, adverb, adjectives, and through our grammatical analysis and through the application of some tests, we learned to identify particular word classes. So in chapter 2, we expanded from individual words to larger units such as phrases and appositives, and we looked at active and passive structures. So we continue on this trend with chapter 3 and looking at verb classes, looking at verb patterns, but starting to think more generally about sentences and how the different parts of the sentences of a sentence combines. So let's start with verbs. So verbs have two general categories. We can think of linking verbs and we can think of action verbs. So linking verbs we know mainly as the be verb. Am, is, are, was, and were. So I am a teacher, she is a doctor, the car is fast. Those are all linking verbs where we are linking a subject to its complement. However, we do have verbs that are linking verbs that are not be verbs, and these are sometimes referred to as sense verbs. So verbs such as feel or seems, right? It seems hot outside. She feels upset. So those are also linking the subject to the complement. The other class that we have the action verbs, and these are those words like study and run and sleep and watch and shoot, all of these things that are actions. And under action verbs we have these two types. We have intransitive and transitive. So remember intransitive by thinking of the root in. So in is saying no. Okay, and what it is saying no to is saying there is not a noun phrase that follows this verb, right? So a verb such as she laughed. Laughed is an intransitive verb because it does not require a noun. It does not require the noun phrase to follow it. Transitive, however, does require a noun phrase to follow it, right? In English, we do not just say I like, right? We don't say I like. We require a noun phrase after I like. I like pizza. I like coffee, right? So those are transitive because they do require a noun phrase. So let's look first more deeply at linking verbs with the be verb. So the linking verb, am, is, are, was, were, these be verbs link the subject. These all take complements. So in number 1, the complement is an adjective, right? So here we have the subject mathematics, we have the linking verb is, and it has the adjective difficult. So that is called a predicate adjective. So S plus LV plus adjective, or PPA. They link subjects to adverbials, right? So here we have the subject he, the linking verb is, plus the adverbial late. Same, the game is tomorrow. We have the subject the game, a linking verb is, plus an adverb of time tomorrow. So that is called an adverbial complement. And then finally we have what's called the predicate nominative. And nominative just simply means noun. So when you have a noun phrase after the linking verb, that is called a predicate nominative. James is a doctor. James equals a doctor. So often it's useful to think of the linking verb as an equal signs, as an equality relationship. James equals a doctor. So we have subject plus the linking verb plus the predicate nominative, a doctor. But again, I did say that there are verbs that serve as linking verbs that are not be verbs. These are words such as feel and seem and sound, become, appear, and grow. So in this first example, the linguistic class sounds difficult. The linguistic class is not doing something. It is not an action. A useful test you can apply here is you can say the linguistics class is difficult, because you can substitute the traditional be verb in this position. You can see that sounds is working as a linking verb. He appeared upset. They felt outrage. She became a doctor. Again, all of those are non-be verbs acting as linking verbs. So as I said, you can do a substitution here using a traditional be verb. Substitute that in the position of the non-be verb to see this. The language class is difficult. He is upset. They are outraged. So all of those be verb substitutions work perfectly. Therefore, these are all linking verbs. So you can see that in action. Nancy grows award-winning tulips. Nancy is tulips. No, that's certainly not true. Nancy does not equal tulips, right? So that is not a linking verb. Nancy grew upset by the decision. Nancy is increasingly upset. Yeah, that works. Nancy equals upset. She feels upset. So here in that second one, grew is a linking verb. You can see it again at the bottom. Steve appeared around 7. Steve is around 7. No, that doesn't work. So therefore, appeared is not linking in the first one. Steve appeared frustrated. We can substitute the be verb. Steve is frustrated. So this does actually work, and that is a linking verb. So to look at a few more examples, French is a difficult language. Yes, so we have the subject French. We have a linking verb is. It is followed by a noun phrase, a difficult language. So that is S plus LV plus PN. In number 2, they seemed excited. They are excited. The be verb substitution works. So number 2, yes, seemed is a linking verb. The chili tasted spicy. The chili is spicy. Yes, the chili equals spicy. That's true. That is a linking verb. She often meets with staff. She is with the staff. No, that's not true, right? So meets is an action. Meet is something she is doing. That is not a linking verb. My friend is anxious, feels anxious. Yes, that substitution works. That is a linking verb. 6, I felt sand. I do not equal sand. So here feel actually is an action. I'm feeling sand. So in 6 is an action verb. So transitive verbs. So some verbs must be followed by a noun phrase, right? Just like the example I gave earlier. In English, we do not simply say, I like. We must follow like with a noun phrase. So that's called a transitive verb. The same is true with number 1. We don't say I bought. We say I bought it. I bought a car. I bought a sandwich. But we must have a noun phrase there. 2, my wife wears perfume. Again, we need something there. If I say to you, my wife wears, then you're left waiting. Well, what does she wear, Robert? So in number 2, again, you can see this is transitive. 3, the students have. Again, what do they have? A test. We must have a noun there. Same with 4, the chef prepares. We have a noun phrase after that, so it must be transitive. Intransitive verbs do not have a noun phrase after it. So these examples, languages change. No noun phrase is needed here. Therefore, in this example, change is intransitive. Languages change over time. Here, over time is a prepositional phrase. We could put 100 prepositional phrases after the verb change, and that would still be intransitive, right? Prepositional phrases are adverbials. Prepositional phrases here are not noun phrases. Language changes slowly. Again, slowly is an adverb that is not a noun phrase. So these are all intransitive. So if we look at a few examples, are these transitive or intransitive? Mary studies diligently in the library. There is not a noun phrase after studies. We have the adverb diligently. We have the prepositional phrase in the library. So number one, intransitive. Number two, Mary orders books. Books is absolutely a noun, right? One book, two books. Mary orders them. Mary orders the books. So we know that books is a noun. So here, number two, this is a transitive verb. Three, Mary laughs when people drop their books. When people drop their books is not a noun phrase. So three is intransitive. Mary whispers quietly to her classmates. Again, quietly is an adverb. To her classmate is a prepositional phrase. These are not noun phrases. Number four is intransitive. Five, the staff knows her well. Here, they know her. So her is a pronoun. The library staff knows Sally. So here we certainly have a noun phrase in this position. That's transitive. Number six, Mary follows the policies. Mary follows them. This is certainly a noun phrase. So this is transitive. Seven, intransitive. With their rules is a prepositional phrase. Number eight, Mary changes her study area. Mary changes it. One area, two areas. Mary changes the area. So certainly her study area is a noun phrase. So this is transitive. Number nine, intransitive. About Chinese history is a prepositional phrase. Number 10, Mary uses many of the resources. Mary uses them. So number 10 is transitive. So I think this shows that there's been much development between chapters 1, 2, and 3. Certainly you need to apply knowledge from chapters 1 and 2 to correctly identify these verb types, and to then next be able to identify sentence structures. It is difficult to identify sentence structures if you're not first able to identify word classes, prepositional phrases, and the things we've talked about in chapters 1 and 2.